Hey everyone, my name is Ori, and in this video I'm going to teach you 5 things that you absolutely must know about the DJI RC2 remote controller. I use this controller together with my DJI Mini 5 Pro, and these are some things that you must know in order to get the most out of this drone and to get the best looking images that you can possibly get. So let's go into tip number 1. This controller comes as standard with a certain map, a certain layout to all the buttons that DJI thought is useful. In order to use the drone in the way that you want to film, you might want to change those buttons up a little bit. Let's dive into the menu screen. So here we have the menu. Hello everyone. To change the settings of your controller, what you want to do is you want to click on this button over here that opens up this menu, and then you can go to control. Now in control, you can set things to, for example, Imperial units or Harry Potter units if you're from the US. I like metric because I'm European, you know? I put the text on larger because sometimes when the sun shines, it becomes harder to read stuff and it's nice to have them larger. Maybe I'm getting old and my eyes are starting to suck. I don't know. The first thing you want to change is the Gain and Expo tuning. Now, in this setting, you can check the rates, the 3 different modes that you can switch with the toggle button in the middle. I mostly fly in normal and I leave these untouched. So all of these ratings to me are fine. I don't touch the Expo tuning. I did that a lot for my Avata 2 to make the rates fit my style of flying. But for this drone, since it's so easy to fly, you don't really need to change these. What I changed is the gimbal speed. Normally the gimbal speed is at 15 degrees a second. Oh, let me put it there. And I think the smoothness is at around 5. Now that means when you rotate this wheel, and you can see it right here, it will move down and up. And this is the max speed that it can go to. So it's not very quick, as you can see. And if you want to use the drone to follow people, for example, somebody's biking, or you want to follow a car and you want to have a little bit more speed and control over the rotation upwards and downwards of the gimbal, you can change this to a higher setting. Now I tried to do it higher than 30, but then I lost the ability to control it nicely. And now you can see it moves much faster up and down. And since now the easing is very low, you can see, boom, it stops. Boom, it stops rather quickly. And if I turn the tilt smoothness up to about 11 or 12, you can see it takes a little while for it to stop, giving you slightly less jerky footage. So that's something I changed. I did the same for the roll speed and the roll smoothness as well. So this is the roll speed, which is how the camera rolls like this. And you can set that to anything that you would like. But I think the best part to do is to go to the simulator that's in this controller and play around with rates that you feel come natural to you. All right, second thing I did was map the controller. So these are the Gain and Expo tuning. And what I want to also change is button customization. Now, normally, when you go to this field, especially these two, they tell you what these buttons do. The C1 and C2 buttons. This C2 button was set at camera settings, and then it was set to portrait landscape mode switch. So this is what it was at. Now, if you film a lot for social media and you want to do a lot of true vertical shooting, you hit this guy, it flips to true vertical. Look, now I can film for a reel, have the gimbal just work like that, know exactly what's in frame so I don't have to cut stuff out. That could be super useful. I never really wanted to film a reel yet, but for now, I'm just going to put this on control, cruise control, because I really like having cruise control in here so that I can put my drone at a certain speed and it will stay at that speed so I don't have to mess up any stick inputs. You need to look at what type of video you're shooting. Most of the gurus online, they say you should shoot in 24 FPS because that's more cinematic. Now, if you're shooting in 24 FPS on all of your other cameras, please select a frame rate that's either 24 FPS or a multiplication of that. So let me show you. If we go into this menu again here, what you can see on the bottom is the way the camera is set up. So we've got our color profile, we've got the FPS, we've got our white balance, we've got our shutter speed, our ISO, we've got our aperture, and then in the bottom, this is what the camera is telling us how is our image currently exposed. And in this case, it's a little bit underexposed. Before we start, we want to go into here and we want to select, since I'm now filming at 24 FPS on my camera, and this video is going to be in 24 FPS, I need to shoot in 48 FPS. I could also shoot in 24 FPS, save some storage space. But in case I want to, use a slow motion, I want to be able to have those 48 FPS. Second, what I did is you can shoot in normal color if you don't want to color grade. I actually don't really want to color grade, but I've seen the difference between color graded images and non-color graded images, and it just looks so much better. So instead of normal color, I select D-Log M. Which is a flat profile that looks like this. But on the drone, I put the color assist on so that it turns it back to somewhat of a color that you can use, or that it might look like in the final shot. Next up, we have white balance. What I like to do is I like to turn the white balance to auto, and then it selects the white balance that I'm currently flying in. So before I lift off with the drone, I check the camera settings, I put the white balance at a certain rate. When I see somewhere it's at, so now it's at 43, 4200, I unlock auto, and then I keep it at that, because sometimes, the drone might fly into a wider light or more yellowish light, and then it will shift the white balance of the picture and it becomes really hard to edit it. So it's better to just keep it at a certain level. Next up, and this one is very, very important, and this is shutter speed. Generally, when you're filming outside, it's too bright. And so if you use this on auto, what the camera will want to do is keep very short shutter speeds, like 1/300th of a second or 1/500th of a second, in order to properly expose the image. Now, the downside of this is that each frame is so crisp and so quick that there is no motion blur in your video. And it makes it kind of straining on the eye for the viewer to watch. And so a little bit of motion blur is kind of what you want to go for. But that means that you'll need to expose your image longer, because longer exposure leads to the light just smearing across the image before the exposure is stopped. Now, in order to do that, you're going to need to use ND filters. These are sort of sunglasses that you put over the lens of the camera to block lights from coming in, so you can use the right amount of shutter speed and still get nice exposure. What I like to do is, before I start flying the drone, is to aim it up at the sky and see what exposure would be useful for me. In this case, the shutter speed, you always want to use the 180 rule, which means you use almost double the shutter speed of the FPS that you're filming in. And since I cannot pick 96 or 1/96 shutter speed, since I'm filming at 48 FPS, and if you double that, you get 96. Quick maths. I'm using the closest approximation, and that's 1/100. Now, the last thing I changed is the noise reduction and the sharpening that DJI products do. And normally it's just a little bit too much. So if you leave these untouched, you might get images looking too brittle, and you might get noise reduction that sort of ruins the quality and softness that you might get in an image. And it's really easy to fix. All you have to do is dive into the menu again, go to camera settings, and scroll all the way down until you hit this thing called style. Now, when you press on it, normally you would see it at 0, but by pressing on it, you can see that the sharpness is 0, and you might want to put that on -1 or -2. And the same goes for the noise reduction. You can also do it at -2 for both of them. That also works find something that you like, but I generally see that when you leave them untouched at 0, it becomes too sharp and there is just too much noise reduction, giving you less than a cinematic look for your drone shot. And there you have it. 5 tips to use the RC2 remote controller and understand the menus a little bit better. I hope these tips are useful for you. Next video is going to be about a couple of drone movements, basic drone movements that you can always rely on. So stay tuned for that video. And if you made it to the end, then I would really appreciate if you hit the like button on this video. If you want to see more tips, I'm going to make more videos. So subscribe to the channel. It would really help me in the YouTube algorithms. And drop a comment down below. I'm excited about drones. I'd love to learn something from you if you have way more experience, or I'd love to teach you something if there's something that I can teach to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.